Namaste to everyone. We are once again back. I hope you missed us around. We took a break in between to kind of get back into a good products for you guys. So with this today, we would be talking something about the mobility and immigration. What are the organizations doing? How are they managing it on this? So today to talk to us about this topic, we have none other than Ms. Sangeeta. Ms. Sangeeta is known to each one of us. I think she's been in the industry for a long time, and I think I would allow her to give us an insight about her things. So today, with the Dope is bringing you this series. So thanking the Dope team for this. And Sangeeta, first of all, thank you for giving us an opportunity to hear to what you say and learn from the experiences that you've got. Over to you, Sangeeta. Would you kind of in brief explain, not I wouldn't say explain, give an insight to your journey till date. How has it been since you've been with the vendor side, on the corporate side, as well as been interacting with that, and a little peep into your personal life.
Thanks so much, Jyoti and Dope team. Great to be here. So to give you a small insight into how my career began, I started my career in corporate sales with a leading travel agency in India. I spent about close to 10 years with Sita World Travel, and then I moved on to corporates like TCS, Oracle Financial Services, and IBM. Before I moved to my current job, which is the Tata.com, and here I presently head the global mobility and travel for Tata.com. It's been a very varied and exciting journey, I would say, working with various large companies, understanding their processes, and probably working with different groups, not only within India, but across the globe. Picking up some of the best experiences that I have over the last 30 plus years, both seeing the world like Jyoti just mentioned from the vendor perspective, working with Sita, and then working with from a corporate perspective, understanding how we work and engage across with different partners over the years. And what I really liked with all the three companies, the large companies that I worked, including the present, is that the thrill of working on some of the large cross-functional projects across geos,
Okay.
The thrill of troubleshooting, and especially when we had really scrunched timelines to complete the projects, I think that kept me going. And I think a lot of the learning experience that I had while I worked with the different companies, from my managers, from my peers, from my colleagues, helped me understand and come to terms with working with some of the processes or some of the obstacles that we faced, which could have been similar, maybe but in a different set of environment. And I think that's helped me be the person that I am today. A lot of experience behind me, but very challenging and fun working over the last so many years. Little about myself. I don't know. Probably we dabbled in a lot of things while we were growing up, from sports to Bharatanatyam to cooking to music to dance. My sister and I were avid Bharatanatyam dancers for 13 years, and we performed in some of the shows that happened, including Asiad in '82, and for the ICCR, and for the trade authorities, etc. Sports, yes, I continued to dabble while I was in TCS. We had the opportunity of playing the state tournaments or intercompany tournaments. I have a daughter. She's just graduated and completed her fashion design. She lives and works in Paris. She's currently with me, so I'm on vacation now.
Very good. Sorry to be interrupting on your vacation, but we thought this is the right time to get you on.
Yeah. So that's a little about me.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much for giving us an insight, and interesting to know about the sports. So when I plan for next time for the travel managers meet, then I know whom to catch for these sports. We have Geeta, we have you. So good. This is getting more interesting. So with that, I just wanted to understand, since your mobility has been your strength, how important is mobility and immigration? Do you think it's important? If it is yes, why do you feel so?
Great question, Jyoti, because I think at least in some of the companies that I initially started working on the mobility part, apart from travel, people generally felt that just a visa stamp on your passport and you're good to go.
Yes.
But that actually that's not the case. There's a lot of compliance that one needs to be aware of when you're traversing between countries. And with the highly competitive digital world that we are in right now, the employee's attitude towards working internationally and to move the right people at the right time, with the cost aspect also in mind, is getting more and more important in these days. It's important for the organizations to understand and know where are employees, what are they doing, and how long have they been in the particular country, because there are a lot of, like I said, the tax, immigration, social security norms that are important for us to adhere to, without which it will be very difficult to stay in compliance with what is expected around in the world. For us as an organization, I think it's important to ensure that we change our existing policies, maybe to drive a little bit more of efficiency and improve the experience for the end customer, who is our employee at the end of the day, and to make that journey for the assignee movement a pleasure, right? Apart from focusing on just their work. And for us as an organization, it's important for us to also observe what are the emerging trends, especially when it is global mobility. It keeps changing at the drop of a hat. It's a highly dynamic environment, and to understand the norms and to ensure that we are adhering to the regulations is of utmost importance. So having said that, if we have a robust mobility and immigration team, it helps not only the company maintain their brand value, but also helps do the business in a most compliant manner. Right? So I believe for that reason it's important to have immigration and mobility as a core function in the organization.
What you said is very true. I have been in this industry for quite some time. But for me, when the first time I heard about mobility and immigration, I said, isn't it a repeat of HR function and a travel function? Why do you need another department for it, guys?
Yeah.
But now that you've given an insight, and since over the time I've heard, I think that's interesting, specific. So sounding more as repetitive, but I would like to ask you, what are the best practices that you think was required in a company to have a very agile mobility and immigration program, so that it is quickly you can change and adapt to it as situations arise?
Right. So we started, I think most organizations would have gone through this process, that you start with a manual environment. But in a manual environment, it's exceedingly difficult to track and see where employees are, to ensure all compliance are met and to monitor, and also to provide visibility. So we moved to a program where we said we need to focus on having as much automation as possible in place. Primarily because we are able to manage the entire life cycle of the employee's assignment, which will help us to keep not only close check and monitor, but it will offer flexibility, service effectiveness, cost optimization, and also risk mitigation. That's really important.
That's right? The most important.
Yeah. And while we use technology, we're going to ensure that the employees remain compliant and receive a consistent level of services across regions, where you eliminate the possibility of inefficiencies when you work in a manual environment. It also gives an opportunity, while you track through your data analysis, I would say, cost saving and tax planning opportunities for the organization and the employees. And I would also believe that you have a consistent immigration, tax, and social security compliance in every market, where you maintain the brand and reputation of the company, like I mentioned earlier. So while we work with partners who are qualified to manage that particular role, it helps us to ensure that we are enabling the business and moving our resources across geos in a safe, compliant, and quick manner.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So right now, with all these experiences and something like COVID happens, okay, so where do you think that the global and immigration program needs tweaking? Or what is the changes that we're going to see in post-COVID-19, which is going to become a part of the plan now? Because this was something which none of us kind of had planned or assumed will happen. That's the reason.
Yeah. So initially for us, Jyoti, what we found, I think the greatest time was that we started having the weekly calls with our HR and our team to track and monitor and see where our employees, at any point of time, what kind of visa status are they on? Are they completing the assignments? Have they, fulfilled the maximum possible stay on the visa category? And how do you get them back, safe passage back to the home country? While doing that, we realized that while the policy may have only factored in the relocation allowance, this was an unprecedented situation where there was additional cost, which the business would have to pick up in terms of the quarantine, in terms of any kind of health checks or whatever needs to be done. A lot of these employees were there with family because they were there for a longer period of time. So I think the quick action or the quick support from the management to take a decision saying, yes, we need to continue to play, whatever the assignment costs are, because until such time the respective governments opened the borders, the entry-exit bans were lifted or the bubble flights were introduced. We also had situations where I believe employees were reluctant to travel back because of the COVID situation in the home country. And there was a lot of sensitivity which is required by the HR, I would say, primarily to convince the employee to travel. And for us, for our team, to ensure that we have done all the safety checks, all the sanitization checks with the airlines, with the hotels, with the transport arrangements, and to give the employee comfort feeling that, we're going to see them through this entire period of time until they reach back home safely. I think that was the need of the hour, and COVID is not going to go away the next couple of months, and we believe that you need to change your policy, whether it's a business traveler or for the assignees, to include a special clause which would take care of future pandemic events or maybe, I don't know, natural calamities, etc. So we have done that, and I'm sure a lot of organizations have worked on that. And also engaging or putting a more focused approach on the duty of care. We've always had duty of care as a part of our travel, program. But there's been a more focused way that the duty of care has been managed. Co-working with the P&D team, that physical environment and security team, where we have a response center where employees can reach 24/7. Frequent updates to the traveler and to the business on what is the situation on the ground, what are the BCP, that is being maintained, and what are the health that they can, get from the organization, or from the partners, is something that I think most of the organizations, including ourselves, they've put together. And this is something I think we need to ensure that as and when changes happen, we adopt our policies to be relevant to the situation. And there's a lot of so there's a lot of fear in people's mind to go back, and the question is that will business be as usual? But I strongly believe it would be. And in fact, we have a lot of question and push from the business saying that, when are the authorities opening up? When can we start processing the work visas? We have new projects in the pipeline, and how soon can we land resources? So while we are focusing on trying to get the information quickly, it's also important to ensure that how safe or how easy are we going to make the employee feel, and how secure that our policies and programs are going to be to support that requirement for business to deploy them on site. And I would say at the end of the day that the program would change. We may not have employees going with families as usual for long term, but maybe companies would revisit the policy that use a flyback option. Correct. Because the dependents may not be able to join, but there are a lot of changes which are coming in because of COVID.
That's true. And you know what? Actually, with all this that you said, it's so positive to hear that the projects are on and things, because in the market, there is so much of a kind of, scare and things. Where is business going? And I think that's a very encouraging statement to say, yes, there is business. Once things get a little clarity, we all are there for you again to start the thing. I think that's interesting. So now that you have explained that, these were the things that you had to do, do you think it's very important now to have mobility and immigration as a part of a strategic plan in their business plan? positioning it as a strategy department, and also regularly revisiting it and putting extra funds into that so that tomorrow you're going to be using. Do you think it's very important and that's required in the future?
100% Jyoti. In fact, I think we pushed and pushed for this. I remember us in iFlex Solutions. A lot of times delivery and the mobility team gets the information after the sale which has been done and the client has been onboarded. There's a lot of pressure to move resources quickly and not understand the full landscape of how the immigration or the mobility works in that country. So I would believe as a business expands to newer geos, we need to have the mobility team involved right from the initial stage. So they could advise them on what are the options of landing resources, whether short-term, mid-term or long-term. If there's any minimum wage requirement in that particular country. If, for example, your organization does not have a local presence, would the client be willing to sponsor the work visa? So all of this would really help the business plan. And probably once they share this information back with the client, with obviously the cost estimates, etc., on landing the resources, it will help the business land the resources on a mutually agreed timeline. So I think this is very important for us to ensure.
Okay, out there, the CEOs and the strategic thing, there is a feedback for you to take it in the next business plans out there. I don't know, but I think what you explained makes a lot of sense, because it's like, I would always compare it and making it as a budget when you run for your homes or anything. You always put aside some money for emergencies and you don't know for what it is used. And also how involvement is there in that, so that you don't have to think, should I hire an external thing? So I think you've really explained it well and kind of given us a thought. Should we look into this when we plan for our next year? Because we've gone through so much in the last 6 months. So that's interesting. So with that, I would like to see, today everybody is talking about AI, data mining, the whole kind of tools which are coming up. Do you think in the current situation, and also with the role that you're with global and immigration, where did I lose that out? With the mobility and the immigration part of it, do you think AI will be a positive feature that would help you to position this in a better way and to kind of cut down on the strain that you have with manually doing things, and it will help you to quickly give results back? Do you see that as a focus today?
Yes, 100%. In fact, we moved to automating practically all of our processes 6 years ago. Like I mentioned earlier, that manual process doesn't really work. And in spite of having a lot of automation, it was a huge struggle working with RHRs, trying to get information where are people and how long they've been there, because people come and go, right? So if there was data that was not tracked or kept earlier prior to the automation, then it was quite a bit of challenge trying to retrieve that. So I would say that organizations who move or partner with maybe their global partners, or maybe those partners have an robust automation in place, it will help you quite easily to initiate, track and monitor employee movement through the entire life cycle of the assignment. And it also helps the manager to get a holistic view of how many resources are deployed and where are they. And it also helps them to cost optimize on the deployment where the project runs for a longer duration time. This is primarily where, for example, if you're doing a support kind of maintenance, or you're doing some kind of AMC kind of work, where over a period of time it will be repetitive skill that may be required to manage a particular client. So if you may have initially sent X resource at a cost, you may find that it may be cheaper to send a Y resource at a lower band, which will be more cost effective for business. So those kind of options are available when you have an automation in place. We're able to quickly pull out data and analyze it and see and view how things can be done. The other part, what we again saw through experience, is that with everything on the tool available, you're able to extend assignments, you're able to deregister, cancel, because that's the need for a lot of countries, where it becomes a compliance issue if you do not adhere to that, and it may attract some penalties or impact your company's brand image. So I think automation is very important for this line of business at least.
Interesting. So that's a very different perspective what we have put in, especially on assignments, on handling the way the whole project is taken care of, using AI as the back so that it helps you to streamline easily and pinpoint things. Interesting. So with that, thanking you for giving all this. However, before I end that, we would like to have, from your point of view, what is it that you would like to share with the viewers? A positive message and also a learning curve for each one of out there who are trying to strive to handle situations. In few words and few lines, if you could share that, we would really appreciate that, Sangeeta.
Sure, Jyoti. So I would say that from a mobility or immigration perspective, you need to have a framework to manage the mobility program very effectively. And you should be able to show that you're adhering to all the compliance, whether it is immigration, tax, or social security. The ability to manage costs effectively and provide an experience that enables the organization to attract, incentivize, and retain the best talent. I think that's important. And especially in these times, employers are looking to see what is it that the organizations are doing to take care of the well-being of the employees. I personally believe that the organization that takes care of the employees is an organization which really succeeds.
Perfectly. I kind of aim in that, and I have seen it in my own personal experiences that an organization which puts its employees before its bottom line has always in the end came out as a success somewhere, because everyone goes. With this, I would like to take adieu from you. Thank you so much for spending some time with you, and once again, really so apologies for interrupting on your vacation and your thing. Apologies to your daughter. We have pinned the time away from her. Okay. So somewhere we make it up for her. Thank you once again. And there, viewers, once again, we've got a very interesting for you a topic, which is something where you learn, and that too from one of the main experts in that field. So I hope you enjoy this. Do share this and share it with all your employees in your team so that they learn, and also reshare it among your friends who have had get an opportunity to learn from these episodes. Thanking the dough, and with the last statement saying that stay safe, stay healthy, and stay inspired. We are going to get out of this thing and we'll come stronger. With that, namaste to each one of you. Thanking you, and we'll see you shortly with a new episode. Thanks, Sangeeta. Thanks, the Dope team.
Thank you, Jyoti, and thank you, the Dope team. Pleasure.
Thank you.